Hello, drama lovers. Welcome back to this channel. No one expected that day, just minutes before dusk blanketed the city, that a single interview would shift the public's perspective on two of the most talked about names in Chinese drama, Tan Songyun and Xu Kai. For months, rumors about their relationship quietly lingered. Blurry photos, ambiguous comments, all left unanswered. But that afternoon, the long-awaited voice finally spoke. Tan Songyun broke her silence, not with drama, but with a calm and profound honesty. The interview was initially meant to be a simple promotional segment for her upcoming drama, Against the Current, a project that marked her return to the screen after a long break due to health concerns. But instead of merely discussing scripts and roles, the conversation drifted to the one topic she had never fully addressed: Xu Kai. Are they still close? Why isn't he in this drama? And perhaps most importantly, what truly exists between them? Tan didn't dodge the questions. With a voice barely above a whisper and soft, unwavering eyes, she answered with rare sincerity. Xu Kai and I have always agreed to separate personal matters from work, she said gently. At first glance, her words sounded neutral, but the tone of her voice carried more weight. It wasn't just a professional explanation, it was a quiet confession, as if she was speaking to someone who wasn't in the room. Maybe to Xu Kai himself. She added, "It doesn't mean we don't support each other. On the contrary, because we support each other, we've learned to respect each other's space." That line struck a chord. In an industry that often glorifies celebrity couples for marketing and spectacle, Tan emphasized the importance of distance, of space, a concept rarely discussed publicly, yet deeply human. Netizens quickly started connecting the dots. Fans who had speculated for years now found new clues, things they hadn't noticed before, or perhaps weren't ready to see. And then, a softer but deeper line came from Tan. "Xu Kai isn't someone who shows everything to the public," she said, pausing. "But in his silence, he's done so much. Especially for me." It felt like a message, quiet, intimate, maybe never meant to be heard publicly. Yet it echoed louder than any direct confirmation. There was no "we're dating," no "we're engaged." But that absence of certainty felt more truthful than any label. Fans began calling it a soft confirmation, not loud, but sincere. Tan also addressed why Xu Kai wasn't cast in Against the Current. "This drama is different," she said. "It demanded a different side of me. That meant working with a new kind of energy. But that doesn't mean I don't want to work with Xu Kai again." She spoke of him not just as a former co-star, but as someone extraordinary, professionally and personally. Yet she also acknowledged that their paths don't always have to run parallel. Sometimes, the best thing we can do is walk our own paths and meet again at the right crossroads. Her voice remained steady, soft, composed, but each word peeled back a layer the public had never seen. A glimpse into a world that exists quietly, far away from cameras and speculation. She went on to describe how emotionally and physically difficult filming Against the Current had been. During those dark moments, she shared, Xu Kai showed up in ways the public never saw. "He didn't need to be on set to make me feel strong. Sometimes, a single message from him could change my entire day." Her words were gentle, yet they resonated deeply. Not because they were romantic cliches, but because they reflected a love that didn't seek validation, a bond that existed in quiet places. Naturally, the reporters asked more. Were they planning a future together? Tan smiled softly and replied, "Everyone dreams of the future. So do I. But I believe everything will be beautiful in its own time." Over time, keeping their relationship private had grown increasingly difficult. They had been spotted together by paparazzi on several occasions. Yet, both Xu Kai and Tan remained cautious, never exposing their personal lives to the spotlight. This interview was perhaps the most open Tan had ever been. The public's reaction was mixed. Some admired their decision to keep things private. Others wanted clarity. But most were touched by Tan's quiet grace and emotional maturity. On social media, the hashtag #TanSongyunXuKai relationship trended in multiple countries. International fans joined in, praising Tan for her vulnerability. One fan wrote on Weibo, "She didn't say, 'we're dating,' but every word felt like a love letter, spoken with dignity and care." The comment went viral. Throughout her career, Tan Songyun has been known for her intelligence and humility. She rarely gets caught up in scandals. But now, fans were seeing a new side of her. A woman who loves deeply, and protects that love with unwavering strength. Xu Kai has made no official comment. However, Fans noticed that he liked a post quoting her interview. A small gesture, but one that spoke volumes. Against the Current is scheduled to premiere soon. Many fans have pledged to support the drama, even without Shu Kai, out of admiration for Tan's professionalism and resilience. Now, the public is watching closely, not only anticipating the drama, but quietly hoping that something more may be unfolding behind the scenes. Some hope for an official announcement, perhaps even a proposal. Others are simply content with what has already been shared, a truth wrapped in gentleness. A few days after the interview went viral, fans began re-watching old clips. Every smile, every glance, every silent moment seemed to take on new meaning. One particular video resurfaced, an awards ceremony from a year ago. Shu Kai had quietly adjusted Tan's dress on stage. At the time, it went unnoticed. Now, it felt like everything. Even more touching were behind-the-scenes clips from a drama they filmed together. After an exhausting shoot, Shu Kai had waited in silence. He said nothing, just handed her a jacket and a bottle of water. Simple acts. But viewed now, they spoke volumes. An anonymous crew member shared, "You didn't need to see them holding hands to know it was real. The way he looked at her when she wasn't watching, that's something you can't fake." What makes their story so captivating is the contrast between public restraint and private warmth. Both have always maintained low profiles. Yet now, their bond seems among the strongest in the industry. Tan's decision to speak, subtle yet powerful, feels like an act of courage. Maybe, just maybe, she's no longer afraid to let the world see what's real. Shortly after, Shu Kai posted a single line on his private social account. "Sometimes the truest things are the ones we never say aloud." No names, no tags, but fans knew exactly what it meant. Within hours, the post had hundreds of thousands of comments. Emotions poured in. "You don't need to confirm it," one fan wrote. "We see it in your eyes. We feel it in your actions. This is the love story we've been rooting for." Some speculated that Shu Kai chose not to act in Against the Current to give Tan the spotlight she deserved. Others saw it as a quiet act of love, stepping back, so she could step forward. In a follow-up interview, Tan was asked if she missed working with Shu Kai. "Of course," she said. "I always enjoy working with him. But sometimes, growth requires a little distance." That line resonated deeply, especially with those who've experienced long-term relationships. It wasn't about growing apart, but growing independently while staying connected. Then came the most unexpected revelation. Shu Kai had quietly visited the set of Against the Current during a late-night shoot. No press. No cameras. No photos. Just presence. For fans, that was the ultimate confirmation. He didn't need the spotlight to show his support. In a world where celebrity romances are often built for attention, the story of Tan Songyun and Shu Kai stands apart for its sincerity. A love built not on headlines, but on quiet care, mutual respect, and deep understanding. Their approach has earned admiration from fans and insiders alike. Many now see their relationship as a symbol of what real love looks like, not one designed for the cameras, but one that grows in silence. At press tours and fan meetings, Tan remains poised and gracious. Even when asked repeatedly about her relationship, she answers gently. "I believe in love that grows with time," she once said. "And I believe some stories are better written slowly, with care." The drama industry is watching closely. Some producers have already expressed interest in casting Tan and Shu Kai together again, perhaps in a drama that mirrors their real-life bond. But for now, they appear content walking their separate paths. Shu Kai is reportedly preparing for a challenging new film role. Tan is pouring her heart into Against the Current. In a podcast, one of Tan's close friends shared something simple but revealing. When she talks about him, her eyes light up. "That's all I'll say." Even as they protect their privacy, small signs continue to surface: shared playlists, mutual likes, subtle interactions. Fans notice everything. And there's a growing belief that this might be one of the rare, genuine romances in entertainment, not staged for the public, but rooted in something real. At the heart of it all is Tan Songyun's authenticity. She's always been thoughtful, grounded. Her decision to speak now feels like a quiet kind of bravery, personal and professional. And Shu Kai, though reserved, has shown that silence doesn't mean absence. It can mean depth. In an industry full of noise, their love story, silent, yet steady, might be the loudest of all. With Against the Current set to premiere soon, fans are preparing, not just for a moving drama, but for the next chapter in Songyun's journey. As an actress, and as a woman in love, what happens next is unknown. Will they go public? Will there be an engagement? Or will they continue to keep their love quietly, just between the two of them? Whatever the future holds, one thing is clear. Songyun and Shu Kai have redefined what it means to be a celebrity couple. They've shown that it's possible to love without performing, to support without spectacle, and to grow, even while standing on different stages. For Songyun, Against the Current is more than a drama title. It's a perfect metaphor for her life, moving forward bravely, even when the world flows in the opposite direction. And for Shu Kai, his quiet presence remains the unseen strength behind her calm. As fans, all we can do now is wait, watch, and support. Because sometimes, the most beautiful love stories aren't shouted, but whispered gently, in the spaces between words.